All right, Dave. So most people are pretty handy with the internet. Even myself read a lot of articles, and I know that carrying too much credit card debt is not always a good thing. Can you tell me what's to be known about that? What do you have to say about that?
Sure. So when I first wrote my book in 2002, this was not well known, but articles on the internet and the newspapers and elsewhere, it's pretty well known that carrying too much credit card debt is bad for FICO scores. Mm-hmm. And, I speak with a lot of mortgage loan officers who are much better versed in how credit works than the typical consumer. And they have a one-shot tool, most of them, pay your debts below 50%. Mm-hmm. And that's the basic data out on the internet.
Right.
Pay your debts below 50%.
That's what I've heard. That's what everybody knows, right?
That's what everybody knows, okay?
Uh-huh.
So actually, there are a number of ratios or percentages that achieve FICO score changes. One of them's over 50%. Two of them are below 50%, but above a zero balance. Okay? And one of those that's below 50% but above a zero balance gets the same great FICO score that a zero balance would. So usually I ask for people for a budget for me to allocate the dollars to their various accounts for best FICO score increase. A person can pay down a credit card $3,000 or even $15,000 if it's a big account and not see any FICO score change. Wow. So they've just spent 2, 5, much more, and no FICO score change unless they hit that 50% that everybody knows. Actually, it's a little below 50% because what happens when the interest is added? You go over 50%. So they get very customized advice that not only deals with these percentages of the credit limit or the high credit used. You have to know which is which. Okay? Little technicality in there. Credit limit, high credit used. It depends on the credit card company. And so percentages of those numbers are where you get your FICO score increases. And then there's some other ratios between accounts and a ratio among all the credit that's available to you and how much you owe. So there's actually bonus points that people don't know about. But of course I do. So I want as many of those bonus points as I can get with the budget that they establish for paying down their debt.
And give me an idea what you're talking about here. So, what you're talking about sounds a little daunting to me. Now, obviously, if I have your help, you'll straighten that out for me. But really, what kind of a difference are we talking about? If I just use the rule of thumb, 50%, or pay actual attention to the specific ratios like you're talking about, what kind of an increase or what's going to be the difference?
Well, there can be enormous differences. To put $3,000 or $5,000 to pay down a credit card and not get a FICO scoring point, not one single point out of that, is kind of a waste of the cash, where that same cash might have gotten us 30, 50 points of FICO increase.
Wow, so quite a bit.
The allocation of the budget is pretty significantly important.
Now, what happens if I don't have enough cash to pay them down as much as I need to?
Right. Well, if you don't have enough cash to pay down your credit card balances as you need to, and you can imagine this is a problem I've been running across for a lot of years now.
Right.
Okay. So I've developed 3 separate non-cash tactics. Now, of course, the question is, when the person is advised to use non-cash tactic A, can and will they do it? If they do it, they get the FICO score increase. If they don't do it, then we'll look at plan B. Can you do that? Yes, no, I'll try. And then plan C. So there's 3 different tactics that can be done that can either be used in a combination with cash or not cash. One of the oldest testimonials I have is a person who used non-cash tactic A. And the testimonial that she wrote was that her FICO scores increased over 90 points.
Wow. With a non-cash solution.
with a non-cash solution.
So you basically customize the exact dollar balances, and so it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to get them all to zeros or.
Yeah, you don't need to get them all to zero. There's a percentage above zero where you get the same FICO scores as if you had paid to zero. Okay, and then there's a question of, in another video, accounts to close. There may also be some accounts to close. Mm-hmm. People say, Dave, I've read on the internet that you should never close an account. Well, okay, if you have the right accounts open, then yeah, you should never close an account. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the right accounts open, then there may be accounts to close paid perfectly that are holding credit scores lower. Hmm. So the advice is totally customized to the entire credit report. I can't say never close an account. That's false. The question is, in this person's case, are there any accounts that should be closed?
And that seems to be a recurring theme in a lot of what you're saying, is that you really have to take the whole credit report and what you see into consideration when deciding what to do about the different.
Absolutely. Every person has an individual credit report, and not only that, they have their individual stories and truths of what actually occurred in life. So every client's credit report is microscoped by me, and every person is interviewed either with questions I want asked or I ask them myself. Because the credit report itself is not the total picture. The individual, when asked the right questions, can shed a whole new light on parts of the credit report. That's really important.